Well, we're the GaZcast, but like it's just Gabe and Zach on a cast. We just like a cast of characters.
Hey, welcome to the GaZcast. It's your boy Gabe and Zach. Today is January the 25th. Tomorrow is the 26th, and that will be the 1 year anniversary of the passing of one of my favorite players, top three favorite, is Zach's favorite player, the passing of the late, great Kobe Bryant. And today we're going to get into an episode just talking about some of our favorite moments. We're both wearing jerseys. I'm wearing my Kobe Lakers 24 jersey. Zach, what you got on over there?
I'm rocking the All-Star game when he played with Jordan.
So let's see the jersey.
Gotta rock with the Bryant. Got the poster in the background. I'm celebrating his fifth ring.
Yes. So for those that are just listening, I got on the purple Kobe jersey. Zach with the red All-Star jersey, just an iconic one. But we'll get right into it. So I guess we'll start on a more somber note, and then we're gonna pick it up. So where were you whenever you heard the news?
So we had gone out the night before, and I went home, went to bed, woke up in the morning, everyone's texting me, everyone's asking me like, is this real? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Check my phone, and it's TMZ. It's TMZ saying Kobe died in a helicopter accident. And I'm like, all right, that's fake. Like, obviously that's bullshit. Kept seeing alerts, kept seeing it. Everyone's calling me, asking me, am I okay? And asking me, is it real? And I'm like, I don't know. And then turn on the TV, and sure enough, they show it on TV, and it's confirmed. And even there was some video of it, some pictures of the helicopter crash. I know Vanessa was saying, hey, like get that out of there and stuff. And how it happened, I'm not gonna put any shade on any parties there. I'm not gonna, also want to give, respect to the other families that were there, and obviously Gianna. So I mean, it was just a tough day. It was a very tough day.
Indeed. It was definitely one I remember. I remember where I was whenever Michael Jackson died, and I remember where I was whenever Kobe Bryant passed on. What I was doing, I was in my room, just hanging out with my old lady at the time, and I started getting texts and seeing reports about Kobe. And I mean, I didn't know what to believe. I didn't believe anything. And we pretty much was confirmed on like every news site that it was true about his passing, about the helicopter crash. And of course, we're also getting alerts saying that Rick Fox was on the plane, saying that all these other people were on, and they knew what was going on. I'm getting texts from my dad. But once we get the final text, I mean, I'm just pretty much depressed. I put my phone was already on silent. I put it just back down and just laid there in the bed for a while. I think later on in that day, I put on my Kobe jersey, the one that I'm wearing right now. Grabbed my shoes, one that just brought those, went to the gym, played basketball, and then retired those. I'm never playing in those shoes again. And I mean, I'm wearing it now, but I don't really just wear my jersey out. But yeah, it was a tough day.
Yeah, I went to when it happened a couple hours later, I took a basketball. I went to an outdoor court in Memphis, shot one shot, made it, picked the ball up, walked to my truck, drove back. That was it. I was like, one shot, that's it. I just wanted to do something, but God, that was a tough day. That was a tough day. And tomorrow's going to be bad. Tomorrow they're going to show, it's going to be celebrating the life. It's going to be talking about this, but I mean, it's just going to be one of the like the I guess like the best moment of this was when the way Shaq talked about it. And if y'all don't know, I mean, Shaq and Kobe's relationship for a 5-6 year period was not very good. And then in the last couple of years, they'd become close again. They'd mended their friendship, actually become like brothers and everything. And then, what he was able to say at his funeral was just big, and same with Michael Jordan too. But I'm glad they fixed their problems before Kobe passed, because I know this would have hurt him even worse if this had happened and he hadn't mended it yet.
Indeed, and that does show, like, in the passing, whenever you see someone pass and you see the funeral, you see all the family, friends getting together. Like, if you imagine if they didn't talk, you spent all that time where you could have just been hanging out, talking, rehashing like the old good times. I mean, those guys won 3 championships together.
Right.
Yeah, there were feuds. They talked about who should have the ball more, whatever. But winning 3 championships, there are going to be some good times, and I guarantee that they dwell on the good times more than the bad times. And even if you talk about the bad times, usually you talk about them as fond times. Like, can you believe that one time you were talking crap to me, blah blah blah, we almost got in this fight? I mean, it's over. Who cares? It's all in the past. But
it is still basketball.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, these are, yes, we love Kobe as an NBA player, but Kobe became a great person, and Shaq's a great person too. And like, these two dudes, they love basketball, but there's still more to life. And like, this is a tough loss for all NBA fans, all just fans of everything. But this had some family implications too, and this is something we need to bring up.
Indeed. But let's get into just some career stuff. I'll rattle off his career numbers: 25 points per game, 5 rebounds,
on the dot,
4 assists, shot 44.7% from his field goal, 32% from 3, and 83 from the free throw. Now, taking out, I guess, his earlier years where he wasn't allowed to play, versus in those later years where he was dealing with injuries, he'd probably be averaging what, like 27. He was on pace to actually pass Kareem.
Yeah, no, there was. Yes, I know we're not going to get into the GOAT debate. We're not going to get into him compared to anyone else in this one. I hope so. But there is some players were able to come in the league and go for it. And because Kobe came in the league as a young pup and succeeded so well, LeBron was able to be drafted number 1 and go from there. Kobe was not given that opportunity. Coach didn't like him. First year and a half, he's coming off the bench. They're saying, hey, we don't like this guy because he's 17 years old and he's showboating in practice, but he's that good. It took them trading an all-star at shooting guard for him to actually be able to start and be able to show what he was. I mean, the last couple of years, he's playing through everything. His legs were not there. So yeah, he was more of a 27, 28 point per game scorer for his career. That was the main 15 years. Main 16 years, which is an incredible career that even we're able to take 2 years out from the front and back and say that's a 16-year career. So that's impressive.
Dude, it's super nuts. 15-time All NBA, 12-time All Defensive. I think that guys with those type of numbers, you got Jordan and you got Tim Duncan. I think those are the only guys that have around the amount or more. And of course LeBron, but LeBron doesn't have the all defensive teams.
No, I think I think Kobe's tied for the most all defensive teams.
Mm-hmm, yeah. With Tim Duncan, 2-time scoring champ, 07, 08 MVP, 5-time champion, of course. Now, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite Kobe seasons. 2012, 2013, the year that he actually got his Achilles injury. That dude was balling out. 27 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting 46% from the field. Let me just mention a 10-game stretch. He had a 10-game, these are his last 10 games. He went 7-3. He scored 30 plus points 6 times. He had 47 against Portland. His lowest scoring game, he had 19, and he got a W versus the Kings. He had 19 with 14 assists, 9 rebounds. But in that season, he had a 16-game stretch where he scored under 30 2 times. And in those games, he had 29 versus the Hornets and 27 versus Portland, multiple 40-point games. I mean, he's 34 years old. If you look at other NBA greats at 34 years old, guys who were having a scoring output like that, you got Jordan, who was able to do such things, and then you got LeBron, basically. Karl Malone was able to do it, but he wasn't able to score as many 30-point games as Kobe. Hakeem had, I think, like 20 something 30+ point games. But as far as scoring production, it's really just Kobe and Jordan. Kevin Durant, he's 32. He hasn't gotten to that age yet, so we'll see what he does.
Yeah.
And LeBron isn't like a score first guy, so he has the points, but he doesn't score like that. So yeah, just Kobe and Jordan.
Just to put this in perspective, Kevin Durant's career high for a game is 54. Kobe Bryant's career high for a half is 55. Just gonna throw it out there. So yeah, no, this is Kobe and Jordan. Those are the scoring champs. Those are the scoring kings. I mean, it is, you can't guard them. Like there's just no two ways around it. There's just no way.
Yeah, nothing you can do to stop him. I mean, Kobe probably wasn't the most talented of guys as far as physical talents, like the big hands or the crazy vert, but he was a guy that literally was just gonna outwork you and just be better than you at basically everything.
Yeah. I would for his best number season, I would probably say 2002, 2003. That was the season where he had 9 straight 40-point games. He averaged his career high 5.9 assists. You know, he was I think he was top 3 in the MVP voting with Shaq. And that was a crazy season. And then, you know, the 05-06 season when he had the 81-point game. You know, he had the 62 points against the Mavericks in 3 quarters. Those, I mean, and then the season he had 4 straight 50-point games. I mean, there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of seasons you could say, hey, this might be his best season, or this might be his best performance. Like, there's a lot.
No, absolutely, absolutely. The thing that I loved about that last season, I mean, he was just, they called him Vino. That's whenever they started calling him Vino, whenever he's just putting on these vintage performances. I mean, multiple games of 30 and 40. I want to say a quote that he had. He was talking about that last season. So they got Dwight Howard and Steve Nash in the offseason. This is a season that they weren't able to get Chris Paul. They expected this season to go smoothly, basically. It was supposed to be a season in which they won games, but they made their way. This was a championship or bust type season. Like, they weren't even going to worry about the regular season as far as like just being a challenge. Well, turns out it was a challenge. It was a big challenge. The Lakers found themselves down, I believe, 4 games under 500 at some point in the season. They lost their coach, Mike Brown, 5 games into the season. They get D'Antoni. But Kobe, this is his mindset. So he's like, I was like a conductor. Now, I know you can't win a championship doing that. You can't. But we had to get our team to the postseason. I had to literally micromanage everything. I called every play. I positioned everybody on the floor, and I manipulated the entire defense to my will. And they asked the question of called every play. Mike down his phone, Kobe, he was like, well, we need to get into that, but I'm not disputing it at all. Again, yeah, I don't even know what to even say. He was talking about Kobe basically the entire season. Kobe's telling the coach, well, I'm not coming out. Like, we're gonna make it to the postseason, and I'm gonna do what I have to do. So this is him at age 34, basically playing every minute. I think in a 3-game stretch, he played every minute except for like 13 of 3 games. I mean, it was just absolutely insane.
And the crazy thing was, when you say, hey, he played 47 minutes, he played 48 minutes, he played game overtime, he played like 52 minutes. I mean, he's doing this. He's guarding the other team's best guard. Or if they have a forward, he's guarding their best player. He's guarding these freak athletes. Like, he's guarding Russell Westbrook. He's guarding all these dudes. And he's still dropping 30. And he's leading the team. And he's doing the coaching. I mean, we look at it. Michael Jordan never won without Phil Jackson. So, and then Kobe has Phil Jackson. He wins. He ends up with them not being there at the end. You have Mike D'Antoni, Bernie Bickerstaff. You have Mike Brown as your coach, and Kobe's like, I have to do everything. And then that led to him eventually tearing his Achilles. And that game against please go watch that game. They're losing the whole game. Kobe's sitting there. They're down 5. Kobe hits key 3. Down 3. Kobe hits key 3. Kobe hits key 3. Just threes in these dudes' faces. He went up, got hacked by Harrison Barnes. He's having his knees. I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna get up. He gets up, makes 2 more threes, and then he tries to take off again, tears that Achilles. But they're down 2. So he hobbles to the bench. He hobbles from the first, hits both free throws, walks off the court. In the interview, he's like, they're like, do you know for a fact? He's like, no, but like I tore my Achilles. I know for a fact. I heard it pop. Like, hits the free throws, just walks off the court. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, he just gave us a chance to win a game that it doesn't matter. We made the playoffs that year because of Kobe. And we only had like 5 games left. I watched that playoffs. It was terrible. We had no chance. I mean, it was like, take Kobe off that team. We sucked. Like that was just Kobe.
Indeed. Over that I think the last 37 games, they went 25-12. And that was just off of a performance of a guy that just would not be stopped. I mean, he said he fucking loved it. It was like pushing me to another level that I've never played before, being that he had to do everything for this team. So
he had a quote, and he said, "You see with the bear, pray for the bear." I'm sitting there like, huh? What?
Dude, literally. I mean, guys talking about him. So D'Antoni, he's saying that there was no way he could get him off the court. Other Laker front office people are like, yeah, take him off the court and then he rip your head off. I mean, if Jesus, one of the front office guys says, if Jesus came down and told him to get off the court, he would tell Jesus, hey, look, I know you're good at walking on water and turning water into wine and stuff, but let me hoop and you stick to healing folks. And that's just the type of crazy mindset that Kobe Bryant has. And he was just relentless.
He walked in the league, told Shaq, hey, I'm going to be the greatest player of all time. Shaq looked at him. What the hell are you talking about? And like, he almost got there. Like there was at one point, there was a path to him being the GOAT. And he came out of high school as a 17-year-old kid. His mom signed his first NBA contract. And he said, I'm going to be the GOAT. And he was on path. Like, that is just unheard of.
Dude, literally, I mean, can you imagine someone that young knowing who has come before him, his predecessors, and just saying, all right, I got this. And yes, he was on path. Even Michael Jordan's teammate, Scottie Pippen, crowned him as such. I mean, he's crowned everybody. That dude, he can't make up his mind. But
let's not Pippen, but just people were saying, I mean, they were all over sports. That it was a moment. It's like, all right, this dude is doing Michael Jordan like stuff, and he could shoot a little better, and he was just dominating the league. He was taking Michael Jordan's moves and just doing the same shot in dude's face, pull up, fade away. Just, I got it. Like, I got this, man. He even showed up a couple games wearing Michael Jordan's jersey, the whole outfit. He's like, I'm like Mike, and that was it. Had the cigar in his mouth. I mean, he was like, I'm gonna be like Mike, but I'm trying to be a little better. Like, that's a tough act to follow. Not many guys, like LeBron kind of shies away from it. He's like, I don't want to be Michael Jordan. I don't want to be that. Like, he wants to be his own man. Kobe was like, I'm going to be what Michael Jordan was and better. Like, that was his goal, which is just insane.
Dude, and the thing that I loved about Kobe is that, like, Michael Jordan, he kind of shied away from, I guess, being like the head. Well, not like the head, but like being, I guess, a black athlete. He just wanted to be seen as like an athlete.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, he did everything in style. This man's wearing his Philly jerseys. This man is doing rap rap videos. This guy's walking around in his Timbs. One of his commercials, he's showing off his hyper dunk shoes. He's like, bro, I'm doing this for the. I mean, he just decked out. He got the big clothes on, jumps over a Aston Martin. I mean, obviously, like that wasn't real, but
Jumps
I mean,
over.
yeah, but he's doing it like he's not
Yeah.
doing it. Oh, yes, thank you, sir. Doing official handshakes and things like a Michael Jordan would do, looking like the perfect child role model that he wanted to be. But Kobe's
Yeah.
doing it with style, doing it with flair, you know. And that's I feel like Kobe just never forgot about like his roots, you know.
No, go listen to what Barack Obama has to say about Kobe. He'll talk about him like he is just the best human on earth. And I mean, when Barack speaks, you gotta listen to that. You gotta listen.
No, definitely, dude. Dude, one of my all right, so in the episode before this, I said a Kobe Kevin Hart commercial. I meant Kobe Kanye West. So he
Oh
has
my
this
goodness.
commercial with Kanye West, and Kanye West is like, my records are broken records. What should I do? Break more records.
More records.
And at the
Do
end,
more.
he's like, you gotta do more. So at the end, he goes, you have to be, he's like, you have to be, are you a different animal in the same beast? And Kanye West is like, what the fuck are you talking about, Kobe Bryant? But I mean, that's what he's all about. You gotta do more, you gotta strive for more. Can you be a different animal basically than everybody else, but the same beast, like on a consistent basis? Can you be that same beast? And that he was.
Yeah, it is rare. Like we talk about his talent level not being of a LeBron or a Michael Jordan, like just straight God's gifts. But he was still a freakishly talented dude. But when you combine that with having the most insane work ethic, I mean, just he's on record saying, hey, like, you know, y'all wake up at 6, like that's just too late. I'm gonna wake up at 4, get a workout in, go home, eat breakfast, work out at 11, go home, work out at 3, go to bed. Like he's like, I'm gonna work out 4 times a day. I'm gonna do this before every game. He's sitting there shooting before anyone's there. I mean, it's like Jay Williams, like, hey, yeah, I showed up early the game. I'm gonna shoot. He's like, but Kobe had been shooting for 2 hours, and he stayed until I stopped shooting. Like he just wanted to show everyone, I'm going to work harder than you, but he's also more talented than everybody. So it's just like it's just a very crazy combination that happened.
Dude, it's insane. Like even in his retirement, Giannis was talking about, yeah, he invited me to the gym, and I thought that I'd be there. I'd get there an hour early. Well, he was already there 2 hours earlier than I
Yeah,
got there, and he's just
yeah,
doing insanity. Anytime you talk about with the older players, him and T Mac, yeah, we're gonna go hang out. Well, Kobe's already working out. Him and AI's like, I'm gonna go to the club. Kobe's like, well, I'm gonna go to the gym. Just
yep.
it's nuts. Like
That
you're the
quote's
best player
hilarious.
in the world, and God,
That literally is funny. So they're sitting AI and him on the court, like, hey, what are you doing after the game? Going to the club. What are you doing? I'm going to the gym. Like AI's like, huh? Come on, bro. Like you don't even need that. Like you're there. You're here. Gobi literally isn't like he was talking about it. He's sitting there, hey, like I know y'all all work really hard in the off season, but like no matter how many workouts you do in the off season, you're never gonna catch up to me because I'm working out how you work out in the off season during the middle of the season. Like he's just like, I'm going to outwork you. There's no hope for you. You're not getting to me.
dude, and I mean, and he did it, and he did it. Another one of my favorite Kobe commercials, Rock Band. He did a Rock Band commercial. All right, so they're singing, "Just take those old records off the shelf." That song. Um, you come in, you got Alex Rodriguez, you got Tony Hawk, who's on the drums. Tony Hawk is probably the greatest, not probably, excuse me. Tony Hawk is the greatest skateboarder of all time. You got Michael Phelps, who's the greatest Olympian of all time, who's on he's on the background guitar. Who is the star of this commercial? Kobe Bryant,
Kobe Bean Bryant.
as he should be. I mean, just the guys you're dealing with just the greatest athletes of all time, and who's the king Puba of the guys that are in this at this round table. It's Kobe Bryant, no question.
And hey, can we talk some good commercials? Kobe and LeBron puppet commercials. Oh
man,
my goodness. Though I miss those so much. Like they used to be just watching an NBA game, commercial break, LeBron sitting there checking LeBron for not having rings yet. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this is actually happening on live TV. It's just the greatest thing ever. Oh goodness.
dude, let's get into it. Freaking 2000, what was it? 2009. We were supposed to have Kobe versus LeBron.
He couldn't get there.
Right there. It was right there.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, I was like, hey, Kobe. Kobe's going to get LeBron. Kobe's going to get LeBron. Kobe's going to get LeBron. The Orlando Magic, who stood no chance versus Kobe. Like, it was that first game, Kobe dropped 40. Next game, 40. I was like, it's done. I mean, there's nothing else you can do. LeBron's like, I'm like, LeBron lost these guys? Like, come on, get there. That would have been some, some Brady Mahomes stuff we're going to see. Like, it should have happened. It should have happened. I wish it had.
Dude, it was such unfortunate. I mean, like, if you think back through the NBA annals, we got to see Bird versus Magic in the finals. We got to see Jordan versus Magic in the finals. In the Eastern Conference Finals, we got to see Jordan versus Bird, Jordan versus the Bad Boy Pistons. We got to see him go against Shaq. Kobe, he defeated a ton of great teams throughout his tenure. I mean, he defeated the Spurs, who obviously won 5 championships over his time. He defeated the Boston Celtics, who they get so much credit for only being a 1-ring team, but we're not here to trash anybody. But I'm just saying,
hey. Rondo, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen on the same court. And who do they lose to? Kobe, me, Bryant. Duncan Robinson. I mean, not Duncan Robinson. What's his name? Tim and David Robinson on the same court. Kobe's dunking on him. Kobe at 21 is dunking on them, splitting Bruce Bowen and dunking on them. I mean, it's just.
Dude, it's nuts. He's defeated. He's went through the Thunder. I mean, granted they were babies, but it's still Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant defeating guys like that. Defeated Dirk. Has gone through Dirk. I mean, he's gone through so many great teams.
Those Denver teams with
absolutely
Chauncey Billups, Carmelo Anthony. One team had AI on it. Kenyon Martin beat them. All the Suns teams that had the MVP, Steve Nash, who beat him? It's Kobe. And like, it's just every year he's playing like 3 of these guys. That Trailblazers team in 2000, those Sacramento Kings teams. He made every time he played the Utah Jazz, who had Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer, who were doing great every year. He lose a game to them. He's like, nah, like I'm good. Like we'll just sweep you. That team just won a first round series easily, and he just bring out the brooms. I mean, it's just light work.
Dude, he's amazing. Some of my, I guess, favorite games, period. Dude, the game that he beat, outscored the Mavs. That was insane.
62 to 61.
Like
3 quarters. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. I mean, you're watching the game, you're like, Kobe wasn't even like going off in the first half. He was doing all right, and he turned up real quick. And that third quarter, he's just like I wonder if he's looking at the scoreboard like, oh, maybe. He just hit 3 after 3 after 3. I'm just like, and he hit that last one, and the Mavs had a heave to try to beat him in the third quarter. And Kobe's like, okay. And he asked coach, hey, can I come back in? Can I try to get 80? Can I try to get 70? Coach said no. 2 weeks later, 81-point game happens. They actually need him in the fourth quarter, which, I mean, yes, this is probably everyone's go-to favorite game. This isn't my favorite game. I did watch this live. I want to throw it out there. That is best thing I ever did was turn on the TV that day and say, I'm watching the Raptors with Jalen Rose Speaking of great commercials, that commercial when Kobe orders a martini and the goes, all I want. He looks at him dead in the face, looks at Jalen Rose and says, 81. Waits for Jalen Rose's face to go. And he goes, nah, I'm just playing. I'll take 2. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, but they couldn't guard him. And that 81-point game, that 62-point game, their Kobe could get hotter than any human on earth. He did not miss. Every shot he wanted to take, he got to it. They're double team, they're triple team, and every shot is contested. And he just in a zone. When Kobe gets in a zone, whatever he wants is going down. It is just, it's unbelievable what the crazy shots. I mean, he's pulling up, he's dribbling down the court, knows they're about to double team. He just pulls up in both their face, just like I'm good. This is my points.
Yeah, Steph Curry heat check before Steph Curry was the Steph Curry heat check. I mean, Kobe held the record for most threes made in the game before Steph Curry did it. He hit 12 of them.
Yeah, it's insane. And Kobe's not just this 3-point guy. Like, he learned how to shoot threes, and in off season they're like, hey, come back and shoot threes, because most number 8 Kobe wasn't shooting that many threes first 3 or 4 years, and then he said, hey, I'll figure it out. And then he hits 12 in a game. He has the NBA record for a 5-year stretch, maybe longer, and that's just,
it was definitely longer.
And it takes Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and then Steph Curry again to beat that. That is just, it's unbelievable.
No, absolutely insane. I think, is Kobe the most skilled player as far as literally can do everything?
I think he is. I think he is the most skilled player. And I mean, yes, you could, if you want to get in with Michael Jordan, I'm not going to argue against that. But Kobe was a little less athletic, and he was able to do pretty much very similar things. And yes, his finishing wasn't as good as Jordan's because he didn't have the hang time. But I mean, Kobe still had some of the best dunks ever. Crazy dunks. And Kobe's fadeaway is unguardable. And his dribbling is probably better than Jordan's too. I mean, he figured out how to dribble just in that. I remember that New York game. I don't know who was guarding him. Some kind of mid scrub was guarding him. Kobe just in and out, crossover, half spin, fault, fake back, pull up in dude's face. It was just poetry in motion. It was just beautiful.
So no, his skills were crazy. His finishing, as well as, I mean, his hang time wasn't like Jordan's, but the way that he could just wrap the ball around the board, his dribble moves don't have, I guess, elite, not the Chris Paul like handles, but he can get to anywhere he want on the court.
Yeah,
with his handle. I mean, his turnaround fadeaways, his ball fakes. Golly, I mean, he just had everything. His dunk on Dwight Howard.
Oh my goodness!
Nuts on your chin, Dwight.
Literally, dude. He dunked on Yao Ming. Throw it down on Dirk. Throw it down on Okafor. I mean, there was a big man in the league. He dunked on you, he did it, and it just, you knew it was coming, and you can try to block it, but you just need to move. But I would, my favorite, I would say, my favorite Kobe game I watched live. My favorite Kobe, I mean, take out the championships, take out just the impact of the game, but just game in general. 2013 against the Raptors. They're down 6. Down 6. Dwight Howard gets a rebound. Kobe's like, give me the ball. Kobe comes down the court, a minute and a half left. He stops his dribble. He ball fakes. 2 on the shot clock. Waits for a dude to sit there. He just stares him in the face, pulls up, just straight jump shot. One of the hardest shots in basketball to make. Just sitting there, holding the ball. You have no dribble. You just jump straight up and shoot it. Splash in dude's face. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. They're down 3. They score again. What does Kobe have to do? Kobe on an inbounds pass, beats the dude off, turns. Whoa, pause. He turns, spins off, gets an open 3 in the corner. Dude comes contest, splash, drain. Then we're down 3 again. Everyone's like, hey, there's no way Kobe's getting this ball. There's no way they can inbound the ball to Kobe. They're double teaming. Kobe splits the double team, catches the ball fakes. The first dude flies by. Second dude comes up. He pulls up into dude's face. Splash. We're going to overtime. Then the dude, there's 10 seconds left. This big white dude comes to double team him. He's like, I'm going to split this double team. Goes get a dunk. Gets the game winner. That game, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I have no doubt Kobe's going to win this game because I've just seen this happen before. It just happens. But I'm just in there. How's it going to happen? How's it going to happen this time? And just nothing went wrong. He was just like, I'm not missing when it matters. That game was insane.
Dude, literally that game, I think the game before that is whenever he dropped 40 against the Hornets. I think these were back-to-back 40-point performances. And he has similar moves where he has the ball around the three-point line, dribble, fakes the pull-up,
head fake,
lets a guy fly by and just pulls up. And whoever the second guy is coming, you're too slow, son.
Don't matter, dog. Don't matter, dog. And another crazy game. He had, well, first of all, I'm going to throw out this. In the middle of his 4 straight 50-point games, he had a 60-point game against the Grizzlies. And then he had a 65 against the Trailblazers, which he went absolutely bonkers. But, which he had some weird twisting shot in the corner. Unbelievable. But in 04, he played the Trailblazers. They're down 3. It's 84-87. Down 3, 2 seconds left. Kobe has the ball at the top of the key. And there's nowhere to pull up. Like they're not fouling him, but there's no way to go straight up. Dude's in his face. Kobe pushes off a little bit, slides to the left, shoots the ball from just direct side shot, hits it, just falls to the ground, he slides like the little perfect little baseball slide off the side. He slides. He's tied. Going to overtime. In double OT. They're down 2. Half a second left. Kobe runs off a pick, catches the ball, fade away 25-foot three in dude's face. The dude smacked him on his wrist. Kobe's wrist just starts spinning. The ball just goes directly in. Everyone was just in the play. It was important. Everything, the place went wild. They're just like, what did I just witness? How in the world do you let this guy beat you? But they didn't let him beat you. They said everything is going to go against Kobe. And Kobe caught the ball, and that's it. That was history.
Literally it. I think he's basically one of the greatest scorers of all time. I think top 4. I have not in any order: Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant. Those are the 4 greatest scorers, one that I've ever seen, read about, heard about, anything. Those are the 4. That's it. I think Kobe's lowest scoring game against any team. So I think he's put up at least 40. He's definitely put up at least 40 against every team. He has 50 against.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have 40 against the Lakers. That's it.
So the 29 other teams in the league, he has dropped at least 40 on them. Yeah. Multiple teams, so many teams, he's dropped 50 on. There was a graphic of teams, his high scoring performances against every team. This was made right before his last game against Utah. I think his highest scoring game against Utah was 42. And obviously in his last game, he scored 60. 60. Just coach shit. Last game.
60.
How?
All eyes on him. Everyone's hyping this up. The first three rows of seats were worth $10,000 a piece. I mean, it was just, they're looking. Spike Lee's out there. Nicholson's out there. Shaq's out there. Everyone's there. And he's like, I'm going to put on a show. In that first quarter, he's put on a show. Second and third, That fourth quarter, he said, hey, I'm not missing. And he came back and won that game. Hit a game winner. Hit and won threes, hitting the craziest bank shots. He had no legs. I'd watched him that season. I went to his last game in Memphis. The dude had no legs, but he would still come on. He put on a show every time. And that's one of the greatest things about Kobe was he was one of those guys that said, "Hey, I don't like when y'all sit out road games. If I come to a city twice a year, once a year, I'm going to bring my A game because there's always one kid in the crowd that is going to witness me for the first time. That's probably the only time he's going to watch him play. Like I saw Kobe have 60, hit a game winner against the Grizzlies. Like some players didn't play against the Grizzlies. Like, hey, I don't want to play against the Grizzlies. It's a tough night. They're a tough defense, and I've just played a 3 back-to-back nights. Like Kobe's playing. Kobe's playing if he's half healthy. Kobe's playing if he's 10% healthy. He won a championship with a broken finger. His finger was just dislocated, just way off. He's like, the doctor's like, hey, you need to get that fixed, or it's never gonna work regular again. He said, man, I can still shoot with this. I'm good.
Yeah, that's how great he was. I mean, talking about that 60-point game, that was a game in which Utah, if they would have won, they would have had the chance to make it into the playoffs. So they were actually competing. They were competing for a playoff spot. On another channel, we missed history. We missed Steph Curry break 400 threes in a season. We missed the Warriors winning their 73rd game. Because who was playing? Kobe.
Because a dude in his 20th season is playing a meaningless basketball game for the Lakers who had 19 wins that season. And everyone's like, oh, they're about to break all those records? Yeah, let's not watch that. Let's watch Kobe. Because that's what you should have done. I'm sitting there. They have the little score in the top right-hand corner. The Warriors are up 10. I'm like, I don't care. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, everyone is watching that Kobe game, it was great. It was
Indeed. But yes. Well, we love Kobe. He's one of my three favorite players. He was my first favorite player before I started looking back in time, and then Magic Johnson and Larry Bird grew on to me as faves. But the way people talk about Michael Jordan, the way that they see him as basically like a little demigod, that's the way that I see Kobe. I mean, he was my Michael Jordan. He was my superhero. He was the guy that I thought would get it done at any time in the game. You need a bucket anyway, whether it's a dunk, a mid-range pull-up, a turnaround fadeaway, a three. He could pull it from 30. He could do whatever he wanted on the court. That was the guy that I definitely would have loved to play like. I mean, he was the guy.
Well, he has me. He's the one that made me shoot every fadeaway I've ever shot in my life. Like, I mean, that I'm sitting there playing basketball. I'm like, I got to try this Kobe shot. Like, I got to do this. I got to see what it feels like to hit this shot. And some of them you just can't make because he's just that good. Like, it was just some contested shots. That one shot I can think of was he's sitting there, Harden fouls him, and he just floats the ball over the backboard and just hits a shot and one. And they're just like, everyone's just like, what the hell is wrong with you? I mean, he gets fouled, he's shooting from anywhere. And like, it's probably going in. Like, it's just nothing you can do about it. And okay, and I would like to say I didn't obviously watch this live, but Game 7 against the Trailblazers, beautiful basketball by him. This dude hit a jumper. They had like blown a lead. They were down 15, down 18 at one point. Kobe gets him back in the game, hits the jumper to get him on the run, hits a jumper with 2 minutes left, hits 2 free throws. Rasheed Wallace goes down the court, misses 2 free throws. Kobe goes, gets a bucket. Then Kobe, up 4 in the Western Conference Finals, sits there, sees Scottie Pippen, crosses him. I mean, full out bakes this dude. Takes 2 dribbles and throws the best lob of all time to Shaq. And when Shaq throws it down, his arms go straight up, running down the court. That was just freaking beautiful basketball. That's Kobe Bryant. Like, every shot he's made is awesome, but that pass, that move against Pippen is just unbeatable. Unbeatable.
Indeed. I mean, so many wonderful memories. Just of Kobe on the court, off the court. I mean, cool little things like nitpicky things in this last season or the season before last with Luka Doncic. He's speaking, I guess, Slovenian to
Slovenian,
Luka.
yes.
Just
Kobe.
what is wrong with you?
Luka's looking over. Who is that dude speaking Slovenian? Oh shit, that's Kobe being Bryant. Like, holy fuck, like that's a whole. Yeah, this dude didn't come to many games, but when he came to Lakers games, you noticed. Like, you were just like, holy shit, this dude's here. You know how many celebrities are at those games? Kobe walks in, biggest applause you'll ever get. Even Magic Johnson sitting there on his retirement night, like, this is the greatest Laker of all time. Like, Magic Johnson, who thinks he is just the best player ever. This dude has the highest confidence of anybody. And this dude's like, this is actually the best player here. It's just, it's great. But we got to talk about his off the court stuff, what he was doing. This dude wrote a book. This dude was making child stories. This dude was doing so much for girls basketball, women's basketball. He was making a dent and doing some stuff that, you know, early in his career, you might have said, hey, maybe this guy's just really good at basketball. Maybe he's not meant for other stuff. As soon as the NBA ended, he said, I'm going to be the best dad, which he already was. He was already a great dad. He said, I'm going to be the even better, best dad I can ever be. I'm going to be the best at this. Whatever he did, he was going to be the best at it, or one of the best. He's just great at everything he does because he tries so hard at everything. That clip of him just talking to his daughter on the court, just explaining what's going on in the basketball court. They're both smiling. They're just having a great time. It's really hard to see now, but during that moment, I was watching that game. I'm just like that is just awesome. Like that is perfect right there.
Dude, it was amazing. Even watching Gianna like grow up. We got to see like some highlights of her shooting some fadeaways against double coverage. I mean, just doing whatever. He's teaching. Kobe is the coach of his daughter's team, teaching them the triangle. I mean, it was wonderful. Cold. It was wonderful to watch.
She was cold. She was hitting some fadeaways. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. I mean, you saw that he was doing. He had drink business. He was putting out, as you say, he was putting out books. Kobe Detailed. I watched pretty much all of those. Until he wasn't doing them anymore. The ones where he did like animations explaining like different things on the basketball court. He did one on LeBron. I did one on Kyrie throughout the playoffs. He did them. It was just awesome to have him around the game, even though he couldn't play on the court. Just to have him around the game, it was just lovely to see.
He was mentoring Giannis, mentoring Tatum. I mean, just like literally, if you have a perfect career and then the second it ends, you just become that great of a person, and that monumental of a human being directly after is just, it's so hard to do. Like, you see a lot of like superstars, they kind of go away for 5 years. You're like, all right, wait a minute, what's this dude doing? Let's go check on him. Kobe was like, as soon as it ended, he said, I know it was my time, and that's it. I'm gonna do something else. And he never stopped, and he wasn't gonna stop.
Indeed. All right, well, guess that's us. We did ask for guys to give some of their thoughts, some of their favorite Kobe moments. So we got that coming right up.
Man, my favorite memory of Kobe is not even one of the like most traditional ones that would just first come to your mind. It was the Olympics in 2012. They were playing Argentina, and he had like this dunk where he like ran down the baseline, did like this 360 reverse dunk.
About his third three.
And it was just crazy. Like, it wasn't even that great of a dunk, but like I just remember watching that game with my dad and the reaction that it had. And like, if anybody that knows my dad, Kobe was always his favorite player. So it was just cool to see him like get so hyped about a dunk that wasn't even all that cool.
Hey, my favorite Kobe moment was when he hit 2 free throws with a torn Achilles.
On his last leg right now. Alternately, It has seemed to be his knee, his foot, his ankle, and now his Achilles.
The man didn't even bend his knees. He just like shot it with his arms.
Bryant tonight with 32 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and he is hurting. But the Lakers down by 2, and they want him and need him at the free throw line. Got it.
And swish both. Nothing but net.
Yeah, not backpedaling or whatever you have to do to get to the other end. If, in fact, he gets to the other end before a foul, maybe.
Made him.
See, Zach, he'd be too weak. He wouldn't even shoot the free throws. I'd shoot him, but I'd break both. But you, Gabe, I know you'd hit one or two. But Kobe, he hits both.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for listening, everyone for their input on this episode. Thank you to Zach for doing this with me. Thank you to all you guys listening. As I said, you could be listening to anything else. You could be listening to some music, another podcast or something, but you guys are kicking it with us. We wanted to do this because we do love Kobe a ton, and I know that a lot of you all out there either loved him or hated him during his basketball career, but I guarantee 100% of you guys respected him for how great he was on the basketball court. But as for myself, for young Zebo, you can follow us on Twitter at GaZcast. Check out our YouTube, the GaZcast. But that's all we have for you guys this week. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you soon.
Mob out.